here's something I think that you all know. Theatrical windowing is a thing. Well, it truly is. Studios use every effort and every tool at their disposal to try to place their films in a given window that will allow the audience to experience their product. Now, obviously, because of the global crisis, there was a massive adjustment to the way that films were windowed. In fact, those windows got smaller. We went from a 60-day, or even sometimes a larger window than that, down to a 45-day window because of the global crisis. And in some cases, films exhibit for as little as 30 days before making their way over to streaming services. Well, there are some countries who don't really appreciate that, and there are some studios that are willing to forego theatrical releases in those countries. Let's take a look at the next big struggle for the studio industry: Europe. Here we go. From our friends over at the Hollywood Reporter, we get this headline: Europe's theatrical window standoff gives studios pause over strategy. Well, no kidding. As France and Italy enforce exclusive cinema runs, execs have now considered, or are considering, whether it's worth bypassing exhibitors altogether and foregoing those grosses. That way they can boost their streaming services. Well, so after 2 years of the global crisis upheaval, one of the biggest debates in the movie industry appears to have been settled. The return of the old-fashioned blockbuster, see the supersonic success of obviously Top Gun, which just went over $1 billion, this story hasn't been updated yet, and Universal's Jurassic World Dominion, which was closing in on $650 million worldwide. I'm sure it exceeded $700 million easily at this point. And that has appeared to convince studios of the value of an exclusive theatrical window, which, duh. The move is an about-face from the peak of the global crisis, when most cinemas were shut down, and studios rushed to get their top films onto their in-house platforms. Read streaming services such as HBO Max, yada yada yada, Disney Plus. So Warner's took this digital-first mantra the furthest, according to this article, and it's very accurate. They put their entire 2021 slate straight to streaming, or day-and-date releases, which is streaming and theatrical, which is exactly what they did with Dune, and they basically pushed that across the entire US. When it came to The Batman, this was the first Warner Brothers film in over a year to be released exclusively to theaters, not jumping into streaming right away. The Robert Pattinson superhero reboot earned $760 million worldwide, so nearly $370 million of that was from the domestic market. And when you look at those numbers, you go, wow, that's pretty good, except that film should have made over $1 billion, but we'll set that aside for now. The in-cinema success of MGM's No Time to Die, which is $774 million gross worldwide, that wasn't a success. They would have been better off selling that thing. It cost them so much money. I don't think that thing broke even to date. I could be wrong, but that's Amazon's problem now. Disney's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was $933 million. Didn't even get to $1 billion. You would have anticipated big old Marvel movie get to $1 billion. And of course, Sony's Spider-Man No Way Home was $1.9 billion. Now there's a real blockbuster. So those were all exclusive theatrical bows according to the article, which is accurate. So it's basically been proven, and very difficult, that it's hard to launch a big franchise on a streaming service, which is, well, I don't know, pretty obvious. I mean, that's the whole reason that Wall Street fell out of love with these streaming services. And boy, let me tell you, they are really out of love with them. Look at what's happening to Disney right now, which is a combination of issues for sure. Studios and exhibitors have found more common ground on the length of the theatrical window. Of course, there was a struggle there between the 75 and 90-day window that the exhibitors wanted, and now what seems to be the 45-day window, which is typical. So you're not going to see a lot of discussion on that windowing going forward, although maybe we will. Maybe a few years from now, the exhibitors will push back and get that 90-day window back. We'll see. They do earn more money the longer a film runs. The studio takes such a big chunk of the upfront the first couple of weeks that it's difficult for exhibitors, but we'll see. Maybe they have room to push back. But France and Italy are, well, two of Europe's biggest film markets, and they're essentially fighting a windowing battle right now with Disney. They're actually going to skip theatrical release for the film Strange World in Europe, at least specifically in France, not Europe as a whole. They're opting to put the movie essentially and exclusively on Disney Plus in November. They're explaining that the move, which is unprecedented in France for such a big title, is, well, the windowing law. She's not wrong when she describes them as unfair and anti-consumer, because they are. Disney objects to the French regulation, which not only enforces a strict 4-month exclusive theatrical window, it's a law, by the way, but also puts a pay TV release ahead of the streaming window. Holy cow. They really are buttoned up on this stuff. Films go out on pay TV. They sit months after their initial movie bout, meaning if Disney puts a film in French theaters, it has to wait 17 months before streaming it on Disney Plus. Yeah, that isn't going to work for them, or probably any other studio that has a streaming service that they're trying to put in every country around the globe. So, wow, 24 to 36 months of waiting period in France is insane. For studios looking to use their blockbuster titles to build worldwide streaming businesses, the French restrictions can disrupt global rollout and marketing plans. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, for example, dropped on Disney Plus everywhere June 22nd, 48 days after its US release, except France, where subscribers will have to wait until October of 2023. Well, actually, use a VPN. So anyway, they're not the only country that's really anti-consumer. The Italian government is forcing a 90-day theatrical window before online bows. Now, those films, of course, have some funding from the Italian government, but anything that's non-Italian is handled on a case-by-case basis, which leaves for, that's kind of a weird gray area there. So Italian culture minister Dario Franceschini, I don't know how to say his name, shocked many in the industry in March when he announced plans for a law making a 90-day theatrical window mandatory for all films, including studio titles. Wow. It's stupid, really stupid. It's trying to protect one industry, cinema, by destroying another, streaming. At least that's what Pierluigi Berlusconi, president of Univideo, a home entertainment lobby group in Italy that counts Disney and Warner among its members. Well, it's an interesting take, but I completely agree with it. It's interesting that we're going to see more and more governments move towards forcing the studios to have a longer window. And of course, you're creating a situation where you could have increased piracy in some of these countries because you can get these films everywhere else. You can have use of VPNs and all kinds of other stuff to circumvent these rules. So this battle's not even over. You're going to start seeing the studios that have streaming services skip theatrical releases altogether in those countries. But hey, it's only 2 countries, right? Except who knows? And for how long will it only be? Italy and France, looking at these kinds of strict theatrical releases, etc., etc. There's a decent chance that Germany, Ireland, Netherlands, and a few others will actually apply some of their in-country laws to films coming in from out of country, and that'll change those things as well. Yet this article brings something very poignant to the argument, and it's something that we should take very seriously, and anyone reading this in the industry should be paying attention. Studios should not underestimate the political power of local theater owners. Well, we've seen that before, even here in this country, particularly in their ability to mobilize anti-Hollywood sentiment, which there's plenty of nowadays. So tapping into that vein of anger wouldn't be that hard. In France, there's always been a chance the politicians will say, US go home. We're going to defend our industry, says Marty, who, of course, is one of the people speaking here. And Disney, as a symbol of American cultural power, well, they're the perfect bad guy. End quote. Interestingly enough, this story, which appeared in the Hollywood Reporter magazine on June 22nd, is something everybody should be paying attention to. I have a feeling the European theatrical window could be a little bit different in the future if anybody follows what Italy and France is doing, which, hey, they may. Pretty easy to make Hollywood the bad guy, as they pointed out. But hey, what do you think? Do you think that the right model is to force studios to be in theaters for 90 days and to follow a particular release schedule that may not be in their best interest? Do you think that the streaming thing is actually terribly overblown and eventually theatrical windows will grow larger just to generate more capital, more profit? Do you think that we'll return to the days when you have 5 or 6 methods for earning money on a film instead of 2? I'm hoping for more methods, but who knows what the studio is going to do. Anyway, feel free to use the comment section down below. We'll engage on this and hopefully get something out of it. Support other independent creators. I say it each and every time. Be sure to give them comments, likes, subscriptions, share out their content. They deserve it. They're not getting help right now. I'm not getting help right now other than from you. And let me tell you, if I appreciate it, I know they will as well. Well, that being said, be sure to take care of yourself. Take care of others. Wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.